Hi, welcome to the bi-weekly show. I am Kyle Schickner. I'm an unshaved Kyle Schickner. It's been a long week. A very hot week here in New Jersey. So, big surprise. I'm annoyed again. It's funny. When I first started doing the show, I was excited because I wanted to talk about some stuff that pissed me off, but I also wanted to sort of get into some of the positive stuff and sort of look at and highlight sort of bisexual artists out there. People like Jan Steckel, this is her book, The Horizontal Poet. It's a great book on poetry that she gave me months ago that I read, and I was planning on interviewing her and focusing on her. So my apologies to Jan. It's just that I feel like I don't like getting angry. I know people, it seems like I do. I have this sort of curmudgeon-y viewpoint of the world. And as I get older, it's falling more and more to the crouchy old man category. But, this week and last week and the week before, I've had my issues with Dan Savage, and, he's going to do what he's going to do. And I've had my issues with Glad. And there's this new guy. I don't know how new he is, but he's getting now the attention, which is what he wants, and I'm sort of on some level buying into his bullshit. This guy, John Aravosis. John Aravosis sounds like something you pick up, in Thailand somewhere when you're not protected. He's a writer. He does blog. He used to be a very, very, very staunch Republican, and then he had this awakening. I guess maybe he started dating some gay Democrat, and he started. And all of a sudden, he's sort of this Democrat, but that's fine. I was, I used to like Adam Ant when I was younger, so we can grow, we can change. So this guy John Halitosis, he writes for Salon, and he has a blog, and a Murray blog, and he's best friends with Dan Savage. But lately he's sort of been starting to pop up again some more with, last week I talked a little bit how sort of the erasure of women, especially women, but transgender, bisexual, and also women, lesbians, in the history of gay culture. This is a man who sort of spouts out about his view of gay culture is all sort of gay white men did it all, and sort of the lesbians were on the coattails of that because they weren't affected with HIV, and the people with HIV really dealt with it. And then somewhere in the 90s, all of a sudden, the bisexuals wanted some kind of recognition out of the blue. Like we just sprung up and wanted recognition than the transgender. So he's kind of hated among bisexuals and transgendered, understandably so. And it is a frustrating thing, and I guess, listen, with the blogs I do here for Equality TV, the ones where I'm pissed off and where I sort of attack people, they get the higher ratings. And I try not to cater to that. I try not to bow to that pressure of okay, who can I yell at this week? So on some level, John Halitosis probably is doing that. And I get that. I just think, it's to be told over and over and over again. I know I'm beating a dead horse, but to be told over and over again, especially by men. Bi men don't exist. There's a lot of, there are bi women that are in long-term relationships, but there are no bi men that are in long-term relationships. And, people will be like, well, what's the big deal? This is just my opinion. But we hear it all the time. And if this John Aravosis guy, if you kept hearing all the time that, you're a small penis prick, eventually it would start bothering you. You're a prick and you have a small penis, but you don't have to hear it all the time. I am a man, a bisexual identified man who has, for the most part, been in longer term relationships with women. Doesn't mean I'm not bisexual. Doesn't mean I can't have a relationship with men. It doesn't especially mean that other bisexual men can't get in a long term relationship with other bisexual men. I don't want to talk about, I know these, it's just a silly argument to say, well, we can't do it. My feeling is this, physically, straight down the line, I'm bisexual. I like men. I like women. But my opinion, my personal feeling is men are pricks. Men are assholes. And I completely include myself in that asshole category. We're assholes. I wouldn't want to date me. I couldn't date me for 5 weeks. 5 minutes. I could not do it. And look, if people like Dan Savage and John Aravosis and other people out there, if that's the bisexual men's option, these gay, close-minded, silly, petty, bullies, but they're not, but they don't think they're being bullies because they were bullied, so they're going to find, if that's our options, if those are our options, if you're my option to date, then I will date every single woman before I go down your road. So I don't know if that's the case for everybody. I know that's the case for me. I find that, after 3 minutes, or I find a guy is attractive, about 5 minutes of talking to him, I think he's an asshole. That's just my thing. And so I can't imagine having to justify. I can't imagine you having to justify who you are every time you turn on your blog, or every time you go on you have to write, and you have to sort of say, well, this is who I am. I'm tired of being marginalized. I'm tired of being told I don't exist. I think we need to be on that Diet Dr. Pepper commercial with the leprechaun and Santa Claus and Bigfoot, and then there's the bisexual man sitting there saying, well, I really don't exist, and then they kick the bisexual man out because he doesn't exist. But yeah, if these men are my options, then I can't imagine any bisexual man wanting to date another man. What I find most incredible is, the I've found more misogyny, worse misogyny within gay men than straight men. And not to say straight men aren't horribly misogynistic and angry towards women, but there's a dismissal of women from gay men that is fascinating to me, because they don't need them. They have no interest. They have no need for them. I mean, ultimately, these douchey men, straight men who sort of don't treat women well, they're angry because they need them and they have very little power. The gay men are so, using terms for women as fish, and it's amazing to me. And these people like John Halitosis and Dan Savage and they all fit into this category. It's like gay white men. We are the ideal, and everyone else are game to be teased and made fun of and marginalized. And that's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. I get it. However, I, for one, am going to, whenever I see you being a douchebag, put you up on my Bisexuals Against a Douchebag website on Facebook, and also say, no, foul, you can't do that. And hopefully there will be other voices, people who hear me, people who just, from a sense of fairness, say, you know what, this isn't okay. Even if you're not a woman and you hear a gay man being misogynistic, say something. Say, no, that's not okay with me. We have to start speaking out against other people that aren't just in our category, especially by these men who are sort of ruling the roost right now in the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender community, because what's happening is they're sort of slowly taking control. They're rewriting history, and we got to stop it. And every time we see that, we need to call bullshit on it. Hopefully I'll get to Jan. Jan, I'm going to get to your book eventually. The Horizontal Poet. It's amazing. It's Jan Steckel. I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm probably not, because, I'm not that bright. And so I'm going to get to this. I'm going to read some poetry. Actually, I'm going to have her hopefully read some poetry. It's really good. Get it. See, it's on zeitgeistpress.com. Zeitgeistpress.com. It's summer. Survivor starts again in September. I'm not going to obviously be on that one. Hopefully I'll be on the one that comes out in the winter, because I need to be the first openly bisexual male on the show.